we are talking about strategies. We are always talking about ABA. We're always talking about how to manage the children in the school, how to work with the students, how to work with the teachers, what is your role. And there are many things that we cover throughout the year. But I think, looking at reflecting on the last year and reflecting on the last few years, in fact, COVID was a good reminder to all of us. Our mental health, our well-being, our work-life balance, and understanding where we are setting professional boundaries is an extremely important part of what you do. Many a times, and I constantly say this, the LSAs, you as an LSA, you are the foundation in inclusion. You are the one that makes almost everything happen and click into place, because you are like a joiner. You are the foundation. You set everything in place and then it works out. Of course, the inclusion team is important. The head of inclusion is important, but you are working at the root level. So sometimes we become so attached to the children and the children we work with and the families we work with that we forget where we need to draw a line. So today's session is a reminder that it's okay to draw a line. It's all right to say that I need to take a step back. I may need somebody else to come and give an opinion on what is happening, because you can become so involved in things that you forget to look at all of that. So thank you, Miss Angelique, as always, coming and supporting us. Miss Angelique works with Georgetown and Center, and they are amazing as well. So they are very lucky to have got her. So it's Miss Zara is their person who owns that place, and I used to work with her children, and that's how I know that they are amazing. She's one of the most amazing moms you'll find around. All right, if you want to take it over, Miss Angelique. We are.
Thank you, Ms. Gurmeet. I appreciate that intro. What I want to leave everyone with today is I always like to give a little bit of a spark in the beginning so that you can remember it throughout. I want you to remember today that you cannot fill someone else's cup if your cup is empty. That's very, very important to know that. Like Ms. Harmeet said, you are the glue that holds things together. We are all here for shared accountability and responsibility, but remember, you have such an important job that you do. You are with that child so many times, so many hours throughout the day. So you cannot fill someone else's cup if your cup is empty. Okay? So I'm going to start that off with... Can everyone still see the screen? Ms. Donabel, Ms. Estella, just let me know.
Yes, it's
okay,
perfect.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes,
okay, so just a mini introduction for those of you who don't know me very well. So I am going to speak with you today a little bit about burnout and professional boundaries, and looking at what to pick up on throughout the session, right? So I'm a short course facilitator at Middlesex University. I am also an adjunct faculty member at Exceed College. I teach inclusion there, and then I'm a published academic author. Also working with inclusion in the field, but mental health and well-being is my bread and butter as well. And the main thing that I feel like I'm contributing to Georgetown Early Intervention Center at the moment is my work with regards to the community and supporting parents, supporting teachers, making sure that everyone has a voice. Because at the end of the day, we're here to support the children, but you are also part of that ecosystem and environment of how we support the children. So in general, if anyone has any questions, Ms. Harmeet or Ms. Estella or Ms. Donabel, they've got my email. Please send me an email if you have any questions with regards to additional training, anything that you can do with regards to well-being at the end of this session. Please let me know. I'm here to help. And I'm not charging you anything for the advice that I give from my heart, so don't worry. Okay. I'd like to ask some of you if you can chat in the chat box, or feel free to ask to answer, switch on your microphone. What are some common misconceptions that we've heard about mental health and burnout? I can give one off the bat, seeing as I'm from South Africa, and we usually associate with that with people who are lazy. You can't be lazy. You can't have a break now, or you can't be depressed. That's just you being lazy, or you're not sleeping enough. Are there any misconceptions that you've heard culturally with regards to what it's like to deal with burnout, or what it's like to deal with that mental health difficulties? What else? Yes, please. Who's raised their hand? Remy. Please, Remy, you can answer. It's fine.
What I would suggest is you can type in your answers. If you don't want to chat, it's okay. Type it in. Okay. And then I and Miss Angelique can have a look at that.
Yes, please. Yeah, thank you so much. It is important that we link this to cultural belief, because there's so much stigma in different cultures with regards to mental health and well-being, and you feeling confident enough to tell someone that you need help. And that's why I brought this up, because for us, when I was growing up, especially in South Africa and many African cultures, we see this as you're being lazy, or you don't have time or money for this nonsense. You have to stop this nonsense now and just move on, you know? Pray and move on about it, kind of thing. But I want to tell everyone here today that it is very, very important that you take time for yourself, and you make sure that regardless of cultural misconceptions, that you move forward with this. You are important, and especially the job that we have, seeing as it's so high in the social and health sector, we need to make sure that we are okay at the end of the day. So I'd like to share some statistics with you guys today. So over 1 billion people are affected by mental health all over the world. So you are not the only one if you think about it. 82% of people from middle class or lower income families also experience mental health difficulties. So it's not just a rich person problem, like many people would say. 59% of teachers experience mental health difficulties, and you fall under that teacher and support system statistic. 75% of teachers say they don't have a work-life balance. They can't switch off when they get home. And that includes therapists as well. I know that they are also part of that family. There's a big group of therapists who can't switch off. Women are more likely to get help, yes, but the statistics for males are very, very interesting now, where we have 1 in 7 men having depression, or 1 in 5 men experiencing anxiety. So we can't just say that it's just a small group of people, or just a certain type of gender, or just a certain country that's experiencing this. This is an all over issue that we need to highlight and address and support each other. And also, then, did you know that mental health can cause difficulties with regards to high blood pressure, weight gain? It can cause you stomach issues. It can give you frequent colds and flus. You have a low or a weaker immune system. Insomnia, you're struggling to sleep. You're very, very tired every day. Unexplained aches and pains, usually in your neck and your shoulders. That's where we harbor our pain, and in our back, right? And then headaches and migraines, if we have a lot of those. These are all signs that I want you to reflect on today. Yes, if you might have the flu, you're going to have some of these symptoms and they're going to overlap. But I want you to reflect today and listen to your body, listen to your brain. When do you need to take a break, and why do you need to take a break? Oh, and then emotional behaviors and changes, and that forgetfulness and poor attention that I forgot to add now as well. So if you tend to forget things easily, 1 second you're happy and then angry and then sad again, these are all emotional fluctuations, and this might be a sign that your body and your mind is tired and you need to take a little bit of a break for yourself. Now, what is mental health? Mental health can be defined as the state of mental well-being when and how we cope with life stressors and the things in our environment that affect us. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is causing you depression, but mental health can also be that status of relationships that we have and the things that we value. Okay, UNESCO and the World Health Organization classifies this as a basic human right. You have the right to a peaceful state of well-being, right, in the community that you're in as well, and the community that you support. Then when we look at the statistics of burnout, or the definition of burnout, it is exhaustion. And remember, there's a difference between just being tired and being exhausted. Exhausted is you have physically those body pains, your head hurts, you feel dizzy, you cannot wake up. It's a physical and emotional reaction. That is when you are burned out. And remember, it doesn't happen in a short period of time. It's a long duration of things that are building up, and you don't address it and you suppress it. And this is when we kind of explode. See it as a big balloon. We blow it up, we blow it up, we blow it up, and then all of a sudden it pops. And then it all comes flooding out, that burnout that happens. Now, what I want to emphasize with regards to work-life balance is the definition of it and why is it so important. So Forbes just easily says it, the Forbes magazine, they easily define it as don't work too much. Now, it's easier said than done for someone else to say don't work too much, but we have bills to pay, we've got families to support, but there's a sweet spot that researchers have figured out, and they say a 38-hour week is that sweet spot of that is when you can have a perfect work-life balance. Anything more than that is considered to be unhealthy, and then you're leaning towards more people feeling mentally unwell, physically sick, that immune system that's lower. So again, anything more than 38 hours. So take a look at how you're working now. And if it's anything more than 38 hours, make that mental note for yourself about changes that need to happen today in your life. Okay? Then how can mental well-being impact our productivity? Okay? Productivity is how efficient we complete tasks and what we do. So now when we look at diagnosis, for example, that can definitely impact our mental well-being and our productivity. So that has to do with, are you physically in pain as well? Because remember, if you're physically in pain, let's say you've injured your foot, injured your knee, and then on top of that, you've got a very stressful work environment. Those two combinations can be very detrimental can impact your well-being, right? And then anything traumatic that has happened to you in your past or your present, that can also impact your mental well-being. So think about the people that come from countries where there's war currently. What does their past say and how can they overcome it now? That impacts your well-being as well, right? The circumstances that you're in, like I mentioned before, that environment that plays a big part in how we address the world, how our emotional intelligence responds, and then lastly, that environment. So stigma and then relationships that we have to deal with. And then also if those of you who are familiar with the bioecological model of Bronfenbrenner, where it says you or the person is in the middle, and then the things around that person that influence it. So if you think about your parents influencing you, the country that you're in, your financial status, your religious sect can influence you, the socioeconomic status of your country. These are all things that can influence our mental well-being. But I also want to emphasize that today we're going to do a little bit of an activity where I want to show you that what is in your control is what is in your control. If there are some things that you cannot control, then you need to make sure that I'm going to give you some strategies and things on how to move on from there, if that makes sense. So here is the bioecological model. And we look at it, like I said, from the beginning. So you are that baby in the middle, but what are the things that are influencing your experiences, your mental well-being, your ability to improve, right? Social status can impact that, the legal system, what you're exposed to on media, on social media, what you're led to believe, the culture that you set in your surroundings or in that environment, and then of course your employer. And we'll focus a lot on today as well on that work culture and how to set that professional work culture and some examples. So this was an interesting video that I found, and I wanted to share it with you today with regards to Oxford University and the research that this Mr. Robert Wicks has done. I just want to stop quickly and then share again. I just want to make sure that I added the volume. Yes, okay, I did. I apologize for that, everyone. I just wanted to make sure if the volume is shared there. Okay, perfect. Let's watch.
I wish that parents, and I wish that teachers, and I wish that adult children of parents who are going through tough times, I wish they would be willing to pick up when they're really feeling difficulties and look at it. I came home from work one day and my wife said, well, how are you doing? And the usual answer is fine. And I said, awful. And I still remember I sat down in the kitchen, I was wearing this old raincoat. And she said, well, did something happen today? I said, no, I don't think so. And then she said, well, why did you say terrible? I said, well, when you asked me the question, I felt like crying. And then I realized that I had, over the day, but also over the week and the month and the year, absorbed people's pain, their helplessness, their ridiculous expectations of me, their fears, their doubts, their questions. So what do we do about that? I mean, what can we do on a simple level, if we're just trying to be a good person or a good teacher or a good parent? Well, the lesson I learned was not from a behavioral scientist, but from somebody in ministry by the name of Thomas Merton, a contemplative Trappist. He was walking past a day room in his monastery and he saw an old monk there, 40 years a monk. But he looked down and he went in and he said, brother, are you okay? And he said, no, I'm not. I think I'm losing my spirit, my joy, my energy. And if he said that to me, I think 40 years a monk, what do you say to him? Instead, Thomas Merton smiled at him, he put his hand on his shoulder and he said to him, brother, courage comes and goes. Hold on for the next supply. I think that's what we need to do, is we need to recognize that sometimes we need a little time off. Sometimes we need patience. Sometimes we need perseverance. And sometimes we need even courage. But before we can get into that, we first need to recognize the signs of burnout and then not deny them or avoid them or think we're going to get through them, but figure out how we can deal with them.
So think of this again as that balloon that I mentioned earlier. It's a balloon that you blow up and you blow up, and then all of a sudden, like Mr. Robert Wicks said, if you don't do something about it, you're going to see yourself getting bigger and bigger as that balloon, and then at one point you're going to explode. So how do we avoid burnout? It's about acknowledging that you're experiencing these things, avoiding sitting in that deep hole sometimes where you feel like nothing can ever get any better, and identifying some of the signs and things that can help you get up again and think positive and feel positive. But also the most important things that I want to highlight here is, where is your body in present, right? Where is your mind? Is it in the past? Is it in the future? Or is it in the present? Because burnout essentially is all these signs of anxiety and stress that build up in our brain, and you need to figure out where you are with regards to control. So like he said, courage comes and goes, and give yourself time. You need to make sure that you take time out, take time to relax. But where are you currently? And we're going to analyze this with the model, the activity that I'm going to give you in a little bit. But what are some signs of burnout that we have to look out for? Okay, chronic fatigue, like I mentioned, it's not just normal, you're tired. Remember, it's that combination of emotional and physically, I feel emotionally and physically drained. It is reduced performance. So if you feel yourself and you see yourself, and maybe others also point that out, say, hey, I think there's something wrong. You keep forgetting to do some things, or your work quality isn't as good as it was before. You feel emotionally exhausted, right? You feel like you cannot invest in other people's problems. Just like he said, I've taken on other people's expectations of me, other people's emotions, the fights that we go through and everything. I've taken that upon myself, right? Trouble sleeping. And then no time for self-care. Remember what we put in our mind. If our cup is empty, we cannot give to others. The things we tell ourselves. Sometimes you tell yourself that you're useless because you couldn't finish this task, but it might be that you need more time in order to strengthen your battery, get your battery going again, and then complete the tasks. And then you will be able to complete things without saying these negative things towards yourself. And then those mood swings, ups and downs, sadness, forgetfulness, and then up and down again with how we feel about people, about places, about ourselves, about work. It's very, very a confusing time for this burnout. Now, why is workplace culture so important? Like I mentioned, now workplace culture is very important because although some of you might be school employed or directly employed by Incluzun, we create that work culture. Like Ms. Harmeet said in the beginning, you are the glue, but we have to look at a shared accountability and responsibility. How are the other peoples in our, the people in the staff and our school system or our support system supporting us to build that positive work culture? And what does work culture mean? It means that, am I going to work and I'm just exposed to one way, like, and I am just focused on the child. I'm not caring about the teacher, the other children in the classroom, my mental health and well-being. What am I bringing to the table? But also, what table am I sitting around? Are there people I can ask for support? Are there people that are guiding me? These are things that are important in workplace culture. How are we learning? We never do a job, or I hope we don't. We never do a job and we're never employed in one position to stay in this position our whole lives. I wholeheartedly believe that people are in the position that they are in to grow, to learn, to enhance their skills, and also to give back to the community, to give back to others, to say, this is what I've learned. And this is the type of professional learning community and work culture that I want to emphasize. Oh, goodness. So this seems like there's a issue with my video. That's okay.
Maybe you can share the link, and
yes,
I can add it in there as well later.
I can do that. Yes, yeah, that's fine. So that was just Simon Sinek. For those of you who don't know him yet, he is someone you can also follow on LinkedIn. He's an extremely influential person speaking about leadership and culture of work, and also mental health and well-being. He's a very, very prominent leadership figure with regards to corporate psychology, and he speaks a lot about what it is to build that work culture. We need to make sure that we respect and we trust one another. We share a clear vision, right? That's not just us sitting in the IEP meetings. That is, what is my vision for the child? The doctor might have their reports and the child made some progress since then. The teacher might not pick that up, but you are the person who picks that up, right? How are you feeling empowered in your work? What is making you happy? What is making you feel confident to do what you do best? That work-life balance that we spoke about, what does that mean? Is just to do less work, switch off. It could mean different things, and I'll give you some examples now as well. Recognizing and appreciation. So I know that Ms. Harmeet and Dr. Catherine are very adamant with this, with their Incluzun awards that they provide as well. That recognition and appreciation is not just to say, oh, I'm number one, I'm the best, but it does give you a sense of accomplishment. It gives you a feeling of that you're part of something bigger, and that's what we want to promote as well as part of that work culture. But global citizenship, what are you doing to promote yourself, but also help within the community? Opportunities for growth. Like I said before, when I introduced myself, I'd be happy to show you more things that you can do if you want to improve yourself, because the more you improve yourself, the more others will value you, but you will also value yourself. And that's when that mental health is coming to its proper full circle, if I can put it that way. Teamwork and collaboration. Are you collaborating with the Incluzun team? Are they supportive of you? How are you involved in meetings? How transparent can you be with parents? Now, I know this is a very difficult topic for us sometimes, because we have to make sure that we phrase our words in a positive way so the parents don't feel like we're attacking them, but also that we're not too honest. There is a thing like too honest, right? So if the parent asks you, how was my child's behavior today? And you said, oh, well, they ran away. Okay. Instead of saying these things, well, how can we rephrase it? And I've got a list of rephrases And you can also type some if you want some later on when I do that with you. Give me some options and then I can help you rephrase it. Inclusivity and diversity, right? Are you respected within the school? What is true inclusion? Inclusion is not just all the shadow teachers are female, right? We do need male shadow teachers as well for a reason. We do need different people from different cultural and religious perspectives as well, because some families request that, but also because it's important for them to maintain their cultural or religious beliefs. And that is part of inclusion and diversity. How are we lowering conflict? What does our emotional intelligence say and our personality? So maybe I can do this next time, Ms. Harmeet, if you'd like to do a session with for all the shadow teachers and TAs on emotional intelligence and that personality and how you can address workplace conflict, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because that's something that I'm also very passionate about, is supporting people with regards to emotional intelligence.
definitely. That's something that we would definitely need to talk about, emotional intelligence. I think you've talked quite a lot about the cultural
Yes.
impact. So we are aware that we have over 70 nationalities in schools alone. Can you imagine the cultural mishmash? So I think to understand that is
very
important.
Yes, definitely. And that also plays a lot on our emotional intelligence and how we promote that in the workplace, which is great. And then that social connection, not just connecting socially with people from the same background or culture or region as you, but making sure that you make meaningful connections. The parents want to get to know us, right? The teachers need to get to know us. If they don't know who we are, then they don't know what we bring to the table. And this is your job to make sure that people get to know your strengths, right? We're not showing off. We're not being boastful. We're just saying, this is who I am. This is what I bring to the table. You are not someone who's just there to look after the child. You are there to take part in a work culture or that environment that is supportive. Because at the end of the day, if you don't, that is going to impact your mental health and well-being. So this is now us leading into the activity that I spoke to you about. So Stephen Convey is one of the most wonderful people. If ever you get to read something about him or do some YouTube research about him, he's an American educator and author and businessman. He's well known for 7 habits of highly effective people. Now, this is something that I did when I was studying my leadership and management course at Middlesex University, and I thought that this man was just amazing with regards to what he put forward. So that 7 habits of highly effective people is not just something that helps us with regards to achieving more, but this is something that he also structured with mental health in mind and that well-being part that we need to do. So we need to be proactive. And he's not just saying it without giving a reason. That's why we're going to do the activity as well. So number 1 is be proactive. Begin with the end in mind. Where do you want to end up? That's what I said before. We're not just in this job to stay in this job our whole life and not grow and learn. What do you want to do? Where are you in your life? Again, that little box that I put there at the bottom with that linear line of, are you in the future, the past, or the present? Where are you now? Put first things first. What are your priorities, right? And think win-win. Again, it's not being boastful. It's what does winning look to you, okay? So for me at the moment, winning looks like I need to make sure that I publish another academic article, hopefully, inshallah, God willing. But what does winning look to you like? Because we are not on the same journey, any of us. We are on the journey that we chose, but it also the faith that we the activities that we engage in the experiences that we have, but it's also about our motivation. What motivates us to think win-win-win, right? Seek first to understand, and that element of emotional intelligence that I think is very important. Maybe we can go a little bit deeper into that when I have a session with you again. Then synergize and sharpen the saw. So synergize is more along the lines of what do we need to finalize, and sharpen the saw is what do you need to do in order to reach these goals and get there, okay? So what we're going to do as part of our activity is we're going to look at the different circles of influence that Convoy put forth, right? So like I said before, stress, worry, and anxiety, these are all things that form part of mental health and well-being, and it's one of the biggest topics ever. So if we look at the control area, the influence, and the accept area, so again, take it from a small to the medium to the larger circle. When we I'm going to start from the bottom. The control aspect is your attitude, your emotional intelligence, and your personality. This plays a big role in how you perceive the world, how you address certain things, and how you learn as well, right? Okay, so I'm just going to give you a small example. Your emotional intelligence tells you not to argue with someone, but your personality can say, no, I'm going to argue with someone. So using myself as an example again, and I always use this example when I teach emotional intelligence to teachers and to parents during PDs. My personality is very avoidant. I don't like conflict at all. I am a hippie, peace-loving person. But my emotional intelligence taught me how to be a leader, how to address difficult situations and speak to people in a positive way and not feel scared and anxious anymore. And I mean, I still feel that little bit of a heartbeat sometimes when I have to have a difficult conversation with a parent, but it helped me a lot to learn how to improve my emotional intelligence, not to override my personality, because I'm always going to be a softie at heart, but it complements my personality and my emotional intelligence and my personality together. Now, the influence part, the next step up from the bottom, is be realistic about your concerns, right? When he said, take an active decision, what are we going to do? What do you need to do to change? Okay, you're in a difficult situation, but are you just going to sit there and sulk, or are you going to do something about it? Then accept. Is it something that you can change? If it's not something that you can do to change now, do you have the emotional intelligence that you can accept it for now? And then later, when it becomes an influential part again, can we swap and change and move on from there? Okay. So again, I want you to focus on these circles because that's going to be our activity now. What can I do to control things that are out of my control and things that are within my control? Remember, how you react is in your control. So think about all those horrible drivers that I have to see when I leave work here at 6 o'clock today, and they drive right in front of me and they almost bump my car. And then I just say, okay, I'm relaxed. It's in my control. I'm not going to shout at them through my window. But what is out of my control? The future is, of course, out of my control. The actions and deeds and words of other people are out of my control. What other people think of me, right? What happened in the past to me, that's out of my control. The political situations in my country, sometimes that's out of my control as well. But what is within my control? And this is the main theme of today's session, right? Boundaries are in your control. My thoughts, my actions, the goals I set for myself, how I speak about myself. Because remember that picture of watering the garden that's in your head? You are watering your garden. If you keep telling yourself, I'm tired, I'm nothing, this is going to affect your mental health and well-being, right? What energy I give to something. If I know that I'm giving energy, my energy, and this has nothing to do with spiritualism, this is our physically, how much energy are you putting into someone's time and they're not giving you anything back? That needs to stop, and that needs to limit in somehow, right? And how I handle challenges. That is something that is within our control. Now, I want you to check the link. I'm going to stop here, and I just want to share the link with you guys quickly. So we're going to go to Nearpod, and I would like everyone to check on there. Where is my chat? Here at the bottom. Okay. So here is the chat. I'm going to share the link with you guys. And then also I'm going to share the code with you. Let me just open my Nearpod quickly. So when you see the Nearpod, you're going to see the circles that are there. And I want you to take a few minutes, let's say 6 minutes, 5 minutes, if that's okay with you, Ms. Harmi, where I want you to reflect on things that are within your control and outside of your control. You don't have to post it if you don't want to. This is a self-reflection activity to help you realize that you are important, firstly. Let me quickly see, where did I put it? Reports. I'm just gonna go here.
Have you given the code yet, Angelique?
I'm just opening it now, Ms. Harmeet.
Okay.
My library. I'm gonna go here. Teach, student paste. We're gonna go to this one, view progress. Sorry, it's taking a little bit long, but I am here. Okay, code in the chat. There we go. So please go to the Nearpod link. There's a code attached for you. And then when you open it, you will see the circles that I'm speaking of. Share it here on my screen as well for everyone who wants to see. And then remember, you don't have to post it if you don't want to. This is just a self activity where I want you to draw and write on it. There's a drawing and writing option for you. You don't even have to save your name if you feel uncomfortable with that. But the circles of control, okay? Things I can control, things I cannot control. You just have to write maybe, let's say, 4 or 5 things in each section. And I want you to really reflect on these because it is important for your mental health to make that, this is you physically writing down my barriers, my boundaries, my limits. Today, this is going to be your change day, hopefully. I want you to make sure that you make it specific to yourself, okay? You don't just have to write with the paint option. There's a typing option as well if it's really hard for you. Don't feel obligated to do it with the paint option. There's a type option as well if you want to. But make it specific to you. So if I have to use myself as an example, things I cannot control. Things I cannot control at the moment. How much money I have to spend on my cats being sick. Silly example, but that is something that I cannot control. But things I can control is how happy I make the students that I have support and intervention therapy sessions with. Ashley, I'm just going to put yours on mute as well, or if you can put yourself on mute for me, please, Ashley. Thank you so much. So remember I said don't use the paint option. There's a typing option as well if it's a little bit hard for you. Make sure you have specific goals as well. So like I said, things that are in my control. How much time am I going to spend on the fact that I want to write another academic article? These are things that are within my control, right? So make it specific to you. I want you to make a conscious decision today to set boundaries.
So these are the ones that are showing up are the ones who are doing it now. Is that what?
Yes, that's correct, Ms. Harmeet. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are
Amazing.
quite a few
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
amazing. I'm glad everybody's trying this out. I think we might need to hurry this along because we've
Yes.
got another 15 minutes left.
Yeah, sure. I can move on. Yes, definitely. Okay, so for those of you who have done the activity, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm going to leave it open so you have access to the link, and everyone can go on back to it, Ms. Harmeet, if they'd like to use it for themselves. So preventative measures that I'd like to emphasize today is to take care of yourself, set boundaries, make sure you access your support system. So again, you've gotten to know me now as well. So if you need someone to talk to, if you need an ear, I'm here for you. I know Ms. Harmeet feels the same. She might be there for you to support you as well, but also look closer to your community as well. Who are the teachers that are there that can give you advice, emotional intelligence advice? Sometimes you do need to vent and just to say, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm gonna throw a shoe at someone today. And that's perfectly fine. You need some friends like that as well. But remember, be proactive with your problems that you have. So if you have that problem, I have a friend as well. When I come to her and I tell her, I need to speak to you from two Angie perspectives, the Angie with emotional intelligence and the Angie that doesn't have one. So I said to her, okay, Angie with no emotional intelligence is going to talk to you now. And then I tell her, oh my goodness, I'm going to throw someone with a shoe. And then she's the one with me who reminds me as well to say, yes, I'll throw a shoe with you, but let's think proactively. What are we doing to make these changes and to move forward, right? What is your mental health support? And identify and acknowledge what you can control. Sometimes things are very, very difficult with parents, with teachers, with the school, with the child, but think about things that you cannot control. And remember, emotional intelligence allows you to move on from that point and not harbor all these negative things inside of you. And that's why it's important. Oh, I forgot I made ticks. So there you go. Those are the ticks as well. Okay, now for setting professional boundaries, I've decided to use this opportunity as things that I've heard before parents say and things that I've taught shadow teachers and TAs how to respond to parents. So this is the part where I want you to type in the chat box if you've had these things before, or if you have a phrase that has been said to you and you don't know how to answer it in a positive way with your emotional intelligence. So I'd like you to work with my child at home, okay? Some of you have that in your contract and some of you don't. And some of you are like me and say yes to everything. But I'd like you to answer. I will be more than happy to speak to you about additional responsibilities outside of my working hours, okay? And this is an example of professional boundaries. It doesn't mean that you're rude. It means you are taking yourself in account as well. Remember, you cannot fill someone's cup if your cup is empty. It's your job to take care of my child and teach them. Is it just our job? I understand your concerns, but I would like to emphasize that true inclusion means shared accountability and responsibility, right? You're not being rude. You are just stating facts. Rome wasn't built in a day. And a child with special needs is not taken care for by one person only. It's everyone in the community's responsibility. Where were you when my child was running away? Why weren't you there? Don't you know how to do your job? I'm actively working with the school on implementing a behavior plan. It will take some time to adjust, or it will take some time for Mohammed or Ahmed or Sarah or Hannah to adjust to it. But I am confident that we will be able to do it together. Remember, shared accountability and responsibility. Together. You didn't do nothing. Your response would be everything to that parent, right? You're not going to say, no, ma'am, I was there, don't worry. You are going to give factual information, set those professional boundaries. You are not going to give them any room to think you are not good at your job. Okay. Yes, you might be young, you might be learning, this might be a new area for you, but you are not going to flake and make them feel like you don't know what you're doing. Our words need to have action and our words need to be professional all the time. Can you attend a parent-teacher meeting and give teachers feedback on my behalf? meaning I'm not going to attend the meeting. You have to be there. As the meeting does not fall within my working hours, I will not be able to attend. Or you can change it up to say, the meeting does not fall within my working hours. However, I will be able to support online if you'd like me to. Okay? That is your professional prerogative if you want to do that. And that's completely up to you. Okay? Then you need to attend therapy sessions every day. Okay? Again, depending on your working hours, you are going to attend therapy sessions and support where you can, because it's important for you to liaise with OTs, speech therapists, and everyone in the child's journey. But you cannot work a 20-hour day. That's going to be impossible for you. Okay? Yes? Anyone have any interesting things that they've heard parents say before? Ms. Harmeet, I didn't check any of the chat boxes.
I want to also add on to this. Okay. I think you have rephrased in the answers that you've given back are superb. That's the way we should be addressing the concerns. Now, one of the things that we pride ourselves on is transparency and respect for the LSAs. So
Definitely.
when we are placing an LSA, all the boundaries, all the expectations are explained to every one of them. So you are told that, this is what you will be doing, and these are the times that you'll be taking.
Exactly.
Sadly, I have to say that majority of the people that we work with are professional, but of course we have those who make a commitment and then back out for reasons that we do not want to discuss, but just that they are not setting the same professional expectations that the parents are setting and expecting. So
it comes from both ways as well.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it comes from both ways. It has to be you being professional, and it has to be the parents being professional as well.
Exactly.
And that's the reason why they are called professional boundaries. So remember, you going in there and saying that, oh, yes, no problem, I'll go for all the therapies. And then when the time comes and you turn around and say, no, I don't think I want to go for all the therapies, that is definitely not setting good professional boundaries and expectations. If you cannot do the therapies, you have to say first. If you are not able to do something that you feel may be beyond your expectations, make it very clear, because both sides of it will be respected.
And also remember, please make sure with regards to that, it was also highlighted in that work culture message, that transparency. If there's something you don't know, for example, if a parent would throw you in the deep end with regards to ABA, and it's not something that you're used to, or a method or a strategy in speech and language therapy or OT that you're not used to, please make sure that you tell the parents that, and that you can learn. Because remember, I said we don't just stay in that same bubble that we are our whole life for 50 years and then we retire. We grow, we learn, we evolve. Okay?
Yes.
That's how inclusion works.
Yeah. And one of the things about growing is that I recently had a chat with somebody who started as an LSA and is now a head of inclusion in a very, very well reputed school. And I, in fact, had a conversation with her and I said, can you come onto my forum and speak to the LSAs about your journey and about how you got to where you are? So that's also something that I am exploring to bring her on to chat to you about where your prospects are. Don't think that just because I'm an LSA, I cannot grow. Yes, you can. You can grow. You can grow in your role as an LSA. If you're happy being an LSA, if you're happy in where you are, you can grow in your role as an LSA. You can become like a support to other LSAs. You can talk about your experience. So all of that is a part of your growth. Growth doesn't just mean that I have to go and become the head teacher of a school. No. Growth can come in many ways. Professional growth, emotional growth. There are many ways to grow. So I think we'll let Angelique finish up because I've got a training on at 6 o'clock again. So we've got 7 minutes more and then I've got to jump on to the other one.
I just say I agree with you, Ms. Harmeet, and I want to say Rome wasn't built in a day. So remember that everyone's journey is different. It took me quite a long time to transition into working for a university. It just didn't happen overnight, right? I had to make sure that I plan my path, I take action, I make sure that what I do is in my control, and I plan for the future. Although the future is not in my control, but I plan for the future. So again, if there's anyone who wants to do any other training or something with regards to upping your skills, let me know. And then I'll provide Ms. Harmeet with that. So the last thing that I want to share with you guys is, oh wait, I'll do this at the end, then we can stop with that one. Just a few questions to check up on everyone. So some suggestions for me time that I found, okay? These things are things that are free in the UAE and things that you can do that are affordable, okay? So hiking in Mushrif Park is completely free, okay? The weather is changing. Make sure you take some me time. If you are an outdoorsy person like me and you like nature, go and take a hike. It is very, very nice there. I think the shortest walk is about 2 kilometers, and you can take water and a picnic. Go and have a picnic with some friends there in the hiking trail. Kite Beach is free. If we like beach vibes again, for those of you who like the sun. I'm not much of a sun person, but I am a trees person, so I like hiking. Go and Netflix and chill, for example, if that is something that you want to do. Switch off completely. So I was so worried about my friend and her husband recently because I couldn't reach them for from basically Saturday until Sunday. And I was like, oh my goodness, something happened to them. You know, there's a lot of buildings burning down now in Al Basha, and I was so stressed and everything going on. And then they just reached out to me a Sunday night and said, oh, we just had a no contact phone day. So they completely did not use any devices, just for their mental well-being. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's amazing. If only I could do that. That's something that I need to do, switch off from my phone. Then some more things, going to the fountains. That's for free. There's an ice cream shop close by. There's karak tea close by, 2 dirham for the karak tea. Go and look at the fountains. Then there's also karak tea at Al Basha Pond Park. It's one of the nicest pond parks to go to. There are boats you can ride on the water, those paddle boats. Again, very nice karak for 2 dirham. And there's also bicycles that you can rent there if you'd like to go around there. You can also sit there and have a picnic with some friends. There are lots of people there having picnic, and that's free entrance, by the way. You don't have to pay entrance to go there as well. Then the fort, the Dubai fort, is a very, very interesting walk as well. And then the Doze across to Old Souk. It's just 2 dirham for the water taxi. So please go. It's very, very interesting, very nice. Take some time out for yourself, take some friends. And then this is Al Jazeera Park, where the flamingos are. And they come during 2 seasons of the year, I believe. And it's free to go into it. So please make sure you go and you visit that. It's one of the things that I think would be really good for you. And then other things that I want to highlight as well that's important is some people might feel that the other suggestions that I've given is not for them, and they are more spiritual and religious. And it is very important to make time for yourself if you are a believer, to make sure that you take some time out, read the Quran, read the Bible, read your religious scriptures if you are a believer, because that also gives you that mental health benefits that is very important for yourself. Relax, to meditate, to do yoga if that is something that is within your spiritual capacity. These are things that are super, super important. What I want to do with, now my video is too fast. Okay. What I want to do to sign off today, and I think we might not have time for my little quiz at the end, but that's perfectly fine. I'll share that with you as well, Ms. Harmeet, Danabel, and Estella. Maybe you can share that with everyone. Just to say the impact of what you do as a teacher. Your impact, you might not see it today and you might not see it tomorrow, but you will see a future where your kind heart and your helpfulness is going to impact someone and something.
Right. So just before you start, Angelique, I want to say a big thank you, because straight after the video, I'm going to have to cut the call. I have to go in for my own training now. We have shared all the links to our YouTube, our Instagram, and also I know there are a lot of you still looking for jobs. Send us your CVs. We are trying to get every one of you a job. We're trying to place you all so that everybody can be happy and feel valued and feel a part and be a part of the inclusion system, because you are here because you are very, very keen to make inclusion happen. So you know that you want to be a part of this journey. So send us your CVs. We'll try to help. If you need more information, the YouTube channel has loads of all these videos that are recorded and sent on. And of course, our wonderful Angelique, thank you so much. This was such a mind awakening session. I think I need to take a lot of your tips and advice there as well, because like you say, you cannot pour from a cup if your cup is empty.
Yes,
all
very
right,
true.
thank you. Let's have the video and then I'm going to jump off after that.
Okay.
เขาจะได้อะไรถ้าเขาทำแบบนี้ทุกวันเขาจะไม่ได้อะไรเลยไม่ได้รวยขึ้นไม่ได้ออกทีวีไม่มีใครรู้จักไม่ได้มีชื่อเสียงที่มากขึ้นเพราะสิ่งที่เขาได้คือได้แค่ความรู้สึกได้เห็นความสุขได้เข้าใจได้ความรักได้ในสิ่งที่เงินซื้อไม่ได้ได้โลกที่สวยงามกว่าเดิมในชีวิตคุณอะไรคือสิ่งที่คุณต้องการมากที่สุดไทยประกัน
And on that beautiful note, we will end this wonderful session. Thank you, Angelique, so much for
It's my pleasure,
absolutely gorgeous session.
Thank you so much, everyone.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And I will see you again next month for our forum again. I'm looking forward to many more exciting events to explore different topics. Send in suggestions. Message me if you want to come on and present. All of you have a voice. This is a platform for your voice. Use it. All right. Thank you.
Remember, do not fill from a cup that is empty, everyone.
Right. Thank you so much. I'll speak to you later. Thanks, Angelique. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.